Hello, my name is Yadira Valdez, and I'll be talking to you today in regards to sensory integration and processing frame of reference. What is sensory integration and processing frame of reference? Sensory integration is the process of organizing sensory information in the brain and to make an adaptive response. The sensory information can be received from the body and the environment. Bundy, Lane, and Murray defined 5 basic assumptions of sensory integrative theory. Number 1 is the central nervous system is plastic. Number 2, sensory integration develops in stages. Number 3, the brain works as an integrated whole. Number 4, adaptive interactions are critical to sensory integration. Number 5, people have an inner drive to develop sensory integration through participation. Why did I choose this frame of reference? I chose sensory integration and processing frame of reference because personally I've used it in early intervention setting and in lockdown units in mental health hospital setting. I've seen progress in my clients in the past using this frame of reference, and also I love how SI is really driven by the child's interests and preferences. What resonates most with me as I envision myself as a therapist? As a therapist, I want to help children and adolescents with sensory integration disorders to understand those everyday excruciating stimuli and assist them with modulation by influencing a sensory diet. What's a sensory diet? So a sensory diet is related to the essential but changing need of all humans to have an optimum amount of organizing and integrating sensation being registered by one's central nervous system at all times. So let's look at a case study. In this case study, the setting can take place in a private OT clinic or in home care, particularly children with like birth to 3 or whatnot. So let's look at this case study of an 11-month-old with delayed motor development and delayed fine motor skills. The child is tactile defensive when being held, has sensory processing problems, sensitivity to movement, poor motor planning skills, impeding development in areas of cognition, communication, and social emotional development. So let's look at occupational therapy goals and objectives related to sensory integration and processing FOR. Here a goal we see is to improve ability to move independently to explore the environment. A short-term goal would be roll from prone to supine position. Another goal can be improve motor planning to actively engage in age-appropriate tasks and activities. A short-term goal would be will spontaneously pick up objects and move them at will. Which model of practice applies best to this client's case? Personally, I believe that the MOHO model of practice applies best to this client's case. Like I mentioned before, sensory integration is really driven by the child's interests and preferences and the client per se. Therefore, particularly to children, the MOHO has 2 assessments that can be used systematically to identify the child's preferences. These are the Pediatric Volitional Questionnaire, PVQ, and the Child Occupational Assessment, Self-Assessment, COSA. Thank you for listening.